Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live show. My name's Laura Cantu, and I'm here with Francisco.
Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here like we are every week. And we are excited, ready to go ahead and share with you some relevant information that, whether you're a student or a parent, is going to help you plan out the rest of your summer in such a way that elevates the competitiveness of the college application. So, again, during the next few minutes, hour, you can hopefully learn a lot of things that are going to make you stand out above the crowd and will be the best use of your time in the context of college and in the context of what to do this summer.
Exactly. Today, as Francisco mentioned, we're going to be talking about what to do this summer to win scholarships for college, right? What to do, how to take advantage of the summer, what are the things that colleges will be looking for in an application and will be impressed by with students in what they did with their summers, right? Because as some of you know, or many of you know, the summertime is completely different in terms of time, in terms of, the schedule. Students are not going to school from 9 to 5 or whatever, 8 to 2 p.m., depending on the school. They have a big chunk of time from Monday through to Friday, unless they're doing summer school, where they can be doing a lot of things and getting ahead in some things that maybe they weren't able to do throughout the school year because of school, work, extracurriculars, etc. So today we will be talking about what your students should be doing during this time to stay ahead and on top of their college application process. So Fran, I don't know if you want to wait a little bit or by the way, let us know. I see a lot of people are watching us on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Let us know where you are joining us from. If you're a parent or a student, we kind of like to know the type of audience that we have joining us every week. And if you're a parent, what grade is your student in? If you're a student watching, what grade are you in? And I already see that this somebody says the live keeps glitching. Is that can you guys hear us, or maybe you need to close it and open it? If you can hear us and see us all right, let me know. But
I'm playing it right here on the phone. I think it seems to be working all right. If not, let us know in the comments. We'll keep an eye on that, and if we need to restart, we'll restart. But again, let us know in the comments where you're watching from and whether you are a parent or a student. Let's go ahead and get started. With the topic, with the information that's going to be helpful for you all. The first thing that I want to talk about is standardized tests. Why? Well, because there's a lot of uncertainty with regards to its purpose, with regards to the value of it. I know that when COVID hit, there was a lot of universities, colleges and universities that became test optional, meaning that they didn't require the SAT or ACT to be sent to the schools for the application to be considered complete. Here's the thing, though. Ever since, a lot of schools are going back to becoming test mandatory. And even if there's a school that is test optional, there still is a lot of value on preparing for this exam, right? So one thing that I can cite is we do a lot of these talks and conferences where we, look at the latest data and admission trends. And I know for the latest admission cycle, both University of Virginia and University of Notre Dame released statistics as to their acceptance rates for students who sent the SAT or ACT scores with their application and students who did not send. And basically what this data showed is that if you kept all things the same, meaning students with similar GPAs, and the only factor that was different was whether or not they included an SAT or an ACT score, what we saw was that admission statistics were significantly higher for students who performed well in the SAT or ACT and sent it as part of their application. So all this to say is that it is very much worth your while to spend this additional time devoting a few hours a week to preparing for standardized tests. Why? Because what you'll see and what you'll come to find out if you're a student is that when you show up to take the exam for the first time, whether it's a PSAT or the SAT, if it's your first attempt, you'll see that maybe the questions are worded in a weird way that you don't understand. But as you take it a second, third, fourth time, you'll see that there's a repetitive structure to these questions. So whether it's a math question where they just replace the numbers, or whether it is reading and writing, the questions are more than being the most intelligent person. Obviously, there's a degree of paying attention to your classes and learning the information that you will be assessed on, but after that, it's a matter of understanding the format and just repeating it. So when I work with my students with SAT and ACT, we have identified that the most important thing is for a student to understand the context and the format of a question and understand how to rule out answers that are certainly wrong, and then proceed to solve for the right question. Because once you master that, more than being a genius, you just learn to methodically just implement that same strategy for the next few questions, rinse and repeat. And again, that's a few extra points that you can get right by just having practice. All right, so that is the first recommendation during the summer, and this is something that's going to be applicable for students. Yes, if you're going to 12th grade, I would recommend that if you need it, take another extra attempt right at the beginning of the admission cycle so you can get your score back before early action, early decision. If you are in 11th grade, start preparing. You're going to take your first SAT or ACT official exams, probably second semester junior year. If you're in 10th grade, there's going to be a lot of things you don't get yet just because the way that the curriculum is structured. Your students will not have learned everything they will be assessed on these exams until they finish their 11th grade curriculum. But it's always a good start to know the questions, even if you don't know how to solve them or haven't learned the information yet, so that when you do show up to class one day and it's, your Algebra 2 class or your geometry class, your student can understand, oh, I kind of remember this concept from when I took this practice exam. I should probably pay extra attention and be ready and learn it so that when I take the real thing, I know how to go about solving this topic. All right, so that is my first recommendation as far as how to enhance your academics throughout the summer. I know that later on we're going to be talking about extracurriculars. We're going to be talking about strategy. But that was what I wanted to start with. Laura, do you want to add anything or move on to the next tip?
No, yeah, super important. Everything that Francisco just mentioned, especially, standardized tests. And you touched on this, how not every college is going to require these exams, right? But we always do recommend students to at least try to prepare for them, try to get a good score. A lot of these exams are skill based, yeah, it can be knowledge based, and they're based on the things that you learned, your student has learned or will learn over the first couple of years of high school. The 4 years of high school, sorry. But there are things and strategies that with practice and with the right resources, students can try to get better at so that they can get a better score in these exams. So very important to use that extra time that you get during the summer to practice for these tests. Now, I know Francisco mentioned that we will be talking about extracurricular activities. That's the second point. And I did want to kind of talk about that and also share, Francisco, you had a call today. You talked with one of our students, our clients, and, how she is going to be using the summer to take advantage of this specific component, which is, volunteering. And we'll get to that, but I want to clarify what the point is. Volunteering, taking advantage of the summer. A lot of high schools require that students, in order to graduate, that they have a certain amount of volunteer hours under their belt and registered so that they can even graduate. So of course, make sure that you're taking advantage of the summer. I know that during the year, a lot of students tell us that it's hard for them to complete their volunteer hours because they're busy, because they're doing a bunch of things. But since now, a lot of students will have more time in their hands, for sure work on those volunteer hours. But not only are volunteering and getting those experiences good for those requirements, volunteering is also a great way to build up your resume, to learn experiences, to maybe even learn, depending on what the student volunteers at, what they want to do with their life. I thought that I wanted to be a nurse for the longest time. And during my first 2 years of high school, I volunteered at a hospital with a bunch of nurses. And it helped me realize that even though it's a really beautiful career, it was not the one for me. So that was kind of like how it helped me, besides getting those hours and building up my curriculum. But it was also an eye-opening experience, right? But yeah, Fran, talk about your conversation today and how important it is to be active during the summer, because it can make a huge difference in your students' college application journey.
Right. So this is a consultation that I had with one of my students, and I think it's going to exemplify what you were trying to get at earlier. Basically, she was telling me how she was going to use the summer to shadow a family friend who is a realtor. Now, this student wants to go into business, but is still trying to decide whether she wants to do finance, accounting, marketing. So what I said to her was, okay, let's go ahead and let's, as we're shadowing for, again, real estate, realtor, and you're using this as your summer experience, let's go ahead and accumulate tangible experiences that can go towards building a resume, towards filling out the extracurricular section of the college application. So, for example, if you are going to be spending time, with this realtor person, maybe you can understand how the funnel works and how they get leads to an open house, help them develop some of the marketing materials that will be sent out to people who are potentially interested in, buying homes. If you want to go into, business law, then when they're doing all of the closing documentation, to whatever degree is reasonable for you to see these documents, try to read, try to proofread that everything is in order, even if it's just as small as gathering these documents and going to, the closing meeting. That is something that eventually, if you do it enough over the next 2 summers as you're doing the shadowing, you can say in your college application in the extracurricular portion, oh yeah, I was successfully helped with the closing documents for transactions of X amount, millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So these are all experiences that, yeah, she might not necessarily want to go into real estate, but if she eventually wants to go into marketing, if she eventually wants to go into business law, if she eventually, whatever the case might, if she wants to go into sales, whatever the case might be, if she can streamline these summer experiences and accumulate, material that will then serve as what she will write about on the essays or what she will use to fill out the extracurricular portion of the application, then when it comes time to apply, you're going to have a very cohesive application that exemplifies that what you spent your free time or your summer time doing is something that aligns with what you claim you want to study when you go to college, right? So that is a recommendation that I think you should all take advantage of right now. Your student, yes, obviously there is the traditional volunteering, extracurricular, sports, music, theater that they can certainly participate in, and that will definitely not get in the way. But even non-traditional experiences like a job or helping out in the community, if you do it as a function of how those experiences exemplify what you eventually want to pursue as an education in college, then you're setting yourself up for giving a beautiful narration of how you dedicated your life so far towards becoming, proficient at those areas that you eventually want to pursue. And that's true if you want to be a veterinarian. That's true if, as Laura said, you intend to eventually go into medicine, work in the nurse's floor, doing your volunteering at a hospital, all those things. The more congruent that your application is at the moment of submission, the more value, because again, at the end of the day, these admissions officers that are going to be reading this are human beings, and it's going to make sense to them. Oh, okay, this person wants to be a doctor, and here's how they spend their free time in service of that end goal, right? So that is a call that I had today that I think very much explains the concepts that we're trying to get across, which is be very intentional with what you devote your time and don't just stay at home. Obviously, enjoy your summer or let your students, if you're a parent, enjoy their summers, but also and push them towards being intentional with what they do on their free time so that they're not just lounging around playing, Elden Ring DLC, but so that they can go ahead and build an application that makes sense.
Yeah. And it was, somebody's asking if this student was an incoming senior that you were talking to.
This person was a rising junior, but with extracurriculars, 2 of the things that matter the most is leadership, duration. 3 of the things that matter the most: leadership, duration, and impact. So this recommendation was in service of duration. So start practicing this as early as possible so that you can do it again next summer, and then you have 2 years under your belt. Because then colleges can see if someone has 15 activities that they join with their seniors because they just paid $5 fees to every club, they can kind of see through that. But the longer you do an activity, the better. And then the impact, that's why I recommended that they gather notes throughout the years as to everything that they do, so that when they're writing about it, they can use tangible numbers, and that's how you demonstrate the impact that you had. So rising senior, but again, the earlier you start, I mean, rising junior, but again, the earlier you start, the better.
Exactly. Super important, super, especially what you say, Francisco, of extracurriculars, not just being involved in a bunch of things. Colleges will see through that. You want to tell a story of who you are as a person and how you're involved in your community, and how long you are part of a club, the long, what you do within that club, and what the things that you do will tell a story. And college admissions officers are experts at being able to kind of paint a picture of who the student is with just looking at factors such as how long was the student part of a club or organization or a team, when did they join, were they in any leadership position. All those things will matter. And by the way, in the comment section, let us know whether you're a parent or a student, what activities are your students doing this summer? Students, what are you doing over the summer? If you play sports or if you do theater. I was a theater person myself, so the summers were dedicated to theater. I also swim a little bit, but my main thing and what helped me win a scholarship for college was theater. So I miss those summer theater days. It was very, very fun. And yeah, let us know what you do, what you're doing, or what your plans are for the summer in that regard. But now that we talked about extracurriculars, volunteering, standardized test scores, let's talk about the final point. And this is more of a technical, college application centered point.
Yeah, it's strategy based
for sure, that we want to cover. And one of them is specifically for incoming rising seniors, and the other one is going to be for any student that is going to be going through that college application process. So it could be 9th, 10th, 11th graders, even middle schoolers if you are trying to get ahead, right? But it's important that students are, first of all, incoming seniors, right? Rising seniors. If you are going to be in 12th grade next year, it's important that you use the summer to start writing those college essays, that you start looking at your college list. If you haven't finalized this list of colleges, it should be finalized, and that you look at whether or not the college essay prompt is already published. And if it is, start working on those college essays, because trust me, the school year is going to come in, summer is going to fly by, and before you know it, it's going to be May, and you're going to be having to make a decision on where to go to college. So you really want to use every day to your advantage so that you are ahead, because senior year is not just filling college applications. It's filling out college applications, writing essays, staying on top of classes. If you are a part of extracurricular activities, if you're the president of something, stay on top of that. If you're an athlete, going to meets, doing all those things. And of course, enjoying senior year, because a lot of fun things do happen senior year. So you want to take advantage of this time off to get as much done as possible. So make sure that you do that. And then the other component of the college application that applies for students, that are not necessarily going to be seniors, but if they haven't done so, it's important that they do it too, is to work on that list of colleges and dedicate some time to the research and finding schools that meet your students' academics, extracurriculars, and financial needs, because there's over 3,000 colleges and universities in the United States. A lot of these schools are super generous and will offer the potential major that your students will want to study or is interested. So it's important to take the time to work on that list, because I believe, and we also believe in Best College Aid, that one of the biggest and most important parts of the college admissions process is that creating the list of colleges. So definitely take time and work on that if you haven't done so already. So super important. Now, Fran, do you want to share some of the resources? Because we did get some questions about resources and how we can further help students. Do you want to talk about that?
Right, absolutely. So basically, we created Best College Aid 6 years ago. When we were from Monterrey, Mexico, we moved to this country 15 years ago. When we got here, my parents, my siblings, and I, we certainly didn't know anything about how college worked in this country. So we hired the services of a private college counselor that helped us, me and my family, navigate the college process. It was a very worthwhile experience. My dad ended up paying $10,000 for these services for me and my siblings. So it was a big sacrifice that ultimately culminated in around $600,000 in financial aid and scholarships for my siblings and I, right? So, we went through our college education, and then we decided to, upon graduation, create Best College Aid so that we could have a platform to share as much of this information for free on social media. So if you are watching this and you got some value out of this presentation, number one, if you came in late, you can watch a recording of it that will be on our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Once we're done, immediately we're going to post it. Number two, we do have a free presentation in the link in our bio. If you're watching on TikTok and Instagram, just go to our profile, and then in the link right there on the profile, you'll see a free presentation that my brother David prepared on the 6 most important strategies to go to college with scholarships. It's more of a bird's eye view of the entire process with more dense information than the one we shared here today. And again, those are 2 free resources that are available for you. If you then are looking for something a little bit more personalized towards your situation, or a resource that is more hand-holding from the beginning of the process all the way to the end, we do have a paid product that you can go ahead and join, our Best College Aid membership. If you want to learn more about that, the last 10 minutes of that free training, we explain everything that it includes, how it works, the costs, and everything of that sort. So you can go ahead and watch till the end. And even if you're not interested, I still recommend you watch most of the presentation up until the 10 minutes. If you don't want to, watch the pitch and learn about the product, you can still watch the first 50 minutes of the presentation, because it's a lot of value, just like the live stream we just had. And yeah, that's available for you. We are having, for those of you interested, a 50% off discount because of the beginning of summer that will be running until Sunday. All right. So those are 3 resources right there that you can take advantage of. 2 free ones is our social media platform, the recording of this live stream, the free presentation, the link in our bio. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, it's going to be in the description below this video. And then the Best College Aid membership for those of you who are interested in more personalized support. All right. So thank you so much for joining today. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. And if you want to keep track of whatever it is that we're sharing and help your students out on the way to college, you can go ahead and give us a follow. We'll see you either inside the presentation next week on this live stream, or inside the Best College Aid membership.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and hope you learned a lot. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.